Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel for another video. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I do a lot of like ukulele tutorials and like cover songs and original songs or whatever. So I wanted to like do something a little bit different today about how to get rid of stage fright when singing. My top 5 tips to overcome nervousness when singing. Let's be real, we've all been there, or at least I have been there. I can't speak for everybody, honestly, but I know with me when I first started singing, because I really wanted to do it really bad, and I was always a nervous and shy person. Even as a kid, I just was never that person to go up to someone and be like, hey, be my friend, or like, I'm gonna sing now. Like, I just never did. That was not me. So it was very hard in the beginning for me to get used to singing in front of people and performing, like playing music, like guitar or ukulele or piano. It was very hard, but I love doing it, so I just kept doing it. Oh, I want to share with you what my 5 tips are. Also, there are many more tips. I condensed these into 5 just for the easiness, or for the sake of this video, just to kind of meld everything together into one like melting pot salad bowl idea of like tips. So if you have any suggestions, put them in the comments below. There are way more suggestions, I'm sure, than what I'm saying. So let's help each other out. Come on, let's help each other out. So any more tips or tricks that work for you, write them down in the comments below. We can always learn from each other. I am not the be all end all when it comes to these kind of tips, and I fully know that. I understand that. But let's share with each other what works and what doesn't. And that way we can all be better at singing in front of people and performing in front of people, and we can continue to do what we love and have fun. So my top 5 tips. Number 1, practice, practice, practice. You have to practice. I mean, there are times when sometimes I will barely practice a song and go on stage and sing it with the words in front of me, but I have been doing this for years. I put in all the time and all the work to get used to playing different instruments or singing. So the one thing I can recommend is just to practice. Practice, practice, practice. Especially when you're first starting out. You need to know what you are singing, how you are singing it, the position you are standing in, whether you're playing a ukulele or if you're sitting and you're playing, or a guitar or a piano. You have to get used to that muscle memory. You have to know how you feel, when you feel, where you're placing your voice and your resonance, where it's going when. You have to know exactly what's happening when it's happening, because as soon as you get placed in front of an audience, you will either be fine or you will, like me, you'll kind of freak out. And that's okay, because public speaking is something like a lot of people are afraid of, and this is kind of right up in there because you are displaying yourself to everybody. It's not the easiest thing. You can't hide behind your screen these days. Well, I mean, now I can because of YouTube, but you're still putting on something for somebody, and it's kind of nerve-wracking. So you have to know what you're doing when, and know it inside and out, so that you are fully confident in what you are doing. And even if you get on stage and you kind of forget, and like for a second you're like, oh wait, this person's looking at me, at least you can go back and be like, okay, I know where I am. You are in familiar territory. You need to know your stuff, whatever it is. This goes not just only for singing, but whether you're playing an instrument and singing, or just playing an instrument, or even theater and acting. And like, I've taken theater classes. I majored in music and theater. You need to know your stuff. That's the same way it is with monologues. If you want to learn a monologue and recite it, you have to know your stuff, because there are times when you might blank. You might get on stage and be like, wait, what am I doing again? So you need to know. So even if at certain points in the song, or certain points in the verse or whatever you're doing, you can find out where you are when, so that even if something happens, because something will happen, we are not perfect. It's gonna happen. You can be ready to go right into the next thing, and you know exactly what's happening. Which goes into my number 2. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust in the work you've done. Actually, one of my college professors taught me this, is that trust yourself, trust the work that you put in to the work, whatever it is you're doing with the practicing. Trust yourself that you know what you're doing, because you practiced it. You know it inside and out. You know what you're doing. You just have to trust yourself. It's really that easy. That was always a hard thing for me, because I kind of felt like when I got on stage, I had to like fail a little bit. And so I would like mess up something to be like, okay, I'm human. I can relax, because I had so much pressure on myself as to like, it has to be perfect. It has to be great. It has to be wonderful. And so as soon as I like messed up, it didn't have to be anything major. It could just be like I dropped a line, or like I sang something a little differently than what I had planned, and I felt like I could then relax and be like, okay, pressure's off. But you don't have to do that. I'd recommend not doing that. But if you off the bat trust yourself and you know what you're doing and you're confident in it, you'll be fine. I know it's easier than done, or it's easier said than done, but trust yourself. You can do it. Trust in the work you've done. Which leads me to number 3, which is perform often. You have to do it often. You can't just be like one and done, like, oh, that was terrifying, I'm never doing it again. Or, oh, I was so scared, but I want to keep going, that's how I was. Like my first, I think I was like 11 when I had like my first like solo thing. There was this thing, it was kind of like American Idol, but it was like in my neighborhood. And so I did that and I was like 11. I think I was 11. And it was terrifying, but I loved doing it. So I kept doing it, and it's taken me a long time since then to be what I like to think is a little more relaxed when speaking in front of people or singing or anything. And you know, I've done all different kinds of performing things. So if you're someone who not only loves to sing, but you love to act, do that too. If you're someone who likes public speaking, do that. Anytime you put yourself out in front of people is a good way to practice. You get used to doing it. You get used to feeling other people looking at you or you get used to seeing other people looking at you while you're doing your thing, whatever it is. Or you get used to where you're standing on stage and the stage lights hit your eyes and you can't see anything out in front of you. You get used to how that feels. You get used to only seeing like the stage you're on, and you can't see like if you're on like a raised stage and you can't see anything out there like your first time, that's terrifying. But when you get used to it and seeing the space you're in, or like if you're in a band and you have people behind you when you're singing, you get used to how that feels. You get to know where you are, when you are in the song and what's happening with the lights or the people in front of you or people that are applauding or laughing or whatever. You get used to that. You have to perform often to get used to that. And there are different types of things. Like I've done some church singing when I'd be the only one leading people in singing and I'm just in front of everybody. And you know what? It was really scary at first, but I like it. It's really fun. Or I've been in band situations when there's tons of activity going on around me and I have to be the one to deliver whatever the song is or the harmony or whatever. You have to get used to doing it. You kind of have to put yourself in these situations. If it's something you like doing, you have to get used to putting yourself in these situations. And in my experience, that's really the only thing that has helped me get more comfortable. It's just doing it. And it's very terrifying at first. It's very scary. I understand it's way easier said than done. But the thing that helped me the most is just doing it. And going back to everything else with practicing and trusting yourself, you have to just do it. Do it. That whole Nike like symbol thing, just do it. Which leads me to number 4, which are relaxing exercises. And when I first started singing and like having these solos and doing all these things, these are something I had to do when I was either backstage before a musical number or whatever, or like before a show, or right before I was gonna sing it and I was sitting, or before I went on stage. Is there different relaxing exercises you can do? Like number 1, I would just like take a nice deep supported breath from your diaphragm, breathe it in, and breathe it out, and everything just feels great, you know, it's all good. Or you can do the one where you tense up your body, so like you can tense up your hands, tense up those knuckles and your arms, and you release it. So you can start like with your toes and get those all nice and tense and squeeze them and then let go. And then as an acting or theater exercise, you slowly let go up the body. So like you start with your toes and you like make them really tight, and then you go up to like your ankles, and then you go up to your knees, and you just tense your whole body and relax it. So you can do things like that. I've done one thing I used to do, which was kind of weird. I think it's called classically conditioned myself. We're going with a classically conditioned, where I would be so nervous before I sang, I actually trained myself to yawn. So instead of freaking out, I somehow, like when I would feel really, really jittery, you know, your heart starts moving and you go to sing and everything's like, kind of like that kind of vibrato. Like vibrato when you don't want the vibrato, if you know what I'm saying. So what I would do is, in order to relax everything, is I would train myself to yawn before I went on stage. I don't know if that's something I'd recommend or not, but you know, for me it worked. So you gotta find what works for you and the way you can relax, whether it's taking a deep breath or making everything really tense and then relaxing it just so that you feel relaxed, you're ready to go. And I guess that goes into also with breathing. Make sure you breathe. We'll go with that for relaxing exercises. Make sure you breathe. Sometimes it's really easy to get up there and you kind of freak out and you're like, oh my gosh. So just make sure you take a nice deep breath and you remember that you can breathe. It's okay. Everyone breathes. You're on stage. Do it. I recommend it. It's great. Breathe. Which goes into my number 5, which was a big one for me, which is what I call take a deep breath, relax, and go. So the way I saw it was, whenever I was like on stage before I did something, I would literally stand on stage, or even sometimes I would close my eyes or like look down. I take a deep breath, open it, and go. And I was ready to go. So I'd call it take a deep breath, relax, and go. So if you did all those other 4 things, which practice, trust yourself, perform often, relaxing exercise, it is all led up to this moment. This is your moment. You have earned this moment. You have worked hard for this moment, whether it's singing or acting or giving a speech. This is your moment. You might not get another one. This is your moment. That's too much pressure. Don't think about you will get another moment. You will get another one. But at this time and place, this is your moment to do whatever it is you want to do, whether you want to reach somebody who is hurting, or you want to help them, or you want to like spread a new idea, or you just want to be yourself for like the first time on stage and forever, or whatever you want to do. This is your moment. So take advantage of this moment. And what I always did was my take a deep breath, relax, and go. And that's what I have for you today. I hope these tips help. They're what I have used personally. I can't speak for everybody and I can't speak for everything ever. This mainly just goes in with singing or performing, like whether you're acting and you're singing on stage while you act, or you're in a straight play, like you're in a play, or you're playing guitar and you have a performance or a lead guitar part or a lead ukulele part, or you're playing piano backup for a band, or playing piano by itself. Whatever you're doing, whether you're singing backup or lead or just anything where you feel like you are nervous and you have stage fright. I hope these help. If they do, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos, because I post new videos and music related content every week. And also check out my social media links. They will be on the screen somewhere. So go check those out, and I'd love to hear from you. Hopefully I will see you all in my next video, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.